It is the day after the last Democratic debate, and it is another day of the impeachment inquiry. Joining me in our political analysis segment today is Jim Byrne, who served for 5 years as the chairman of the Democratic Party in Pennsylvania and also more than a decade as mayor of Millville. And on the Republican side is Keith Schmidt. Keith served for 16 years as the state director, former Republican Senator Rick Santorum here in Pennsylvania. Both know politics extremely well. So right now it appears the House Intelligence Committee is wrapping up its impeachment inquiry and then handing it on to the Judiciary Committee. As we noted yesterday, the Democrats, have they or have they not made their case?
I believe that they've proved, for purposes of impeachment inquiries, enough evidence prima facie to present articles of impeachment. Prosecutors will tell you, put your best witness up first or put your best witness up last. They chose the latter. Yesterday was the most compelling evidence that articles need to be drafted and sent to the Senate.
I presume you disagree?
I disagree. I really was expecting, or I'm still expecting, some sort of smoking gun. At this point, I don't think there's anything there that compelling that rises to high crimes and misdemeanors.
A lot of this, of course, deals with politics and going into this presidential election year. And the question now becomes, is this hurting or helping the Democrats? This is an interesting poll. This was conducted by Marquette University Law School, and it deals only with the state of Wisconsin. But the question was, should the president be impeached and removed from office? In October, 44% said yes, but in November, between November the 13th and the 17th, it dropped by 4%, and the people who think that he should not be impeached increased. That's not looking good for the Democratic side.
On these impeachment polls, I think we need to be reminded that we're talking about snapshots of moving pictures. And in this case, the poll was done before yesterday's very compelling and powerful testimony from Mr. Vineland. Let's see what that poll says in another week, and let's see, after the articles are drafted and how they read, what those numbers might look like.
I think by all indications, Stacy, the American people are already becoming impeachment fatigued. And these numbers, I think, are indicative of that. I think, if anything, what it has been a great boom for the President of the United States to fundraise. He's breaking records on his side and using the impeachment as his fundraising tool.
All right, well, now let's switch to the debate last night if we can, because we don't have a lot of time here. There were few, if any, fireworks last night, especially among the leaders, as we will call them. However, one of the leaders did take some fire from some other people, some of the candidates who are not as high in the polling. One case in particular, Pete Buttigieg, the mayor of South Bend, Indiana. Here is his response after being criticized for not having enough experience, especially in Washington.
Washington experience is not the only experience that matters. There's more than 100 years of Washington experience on this stage. And where are we right now as a country?
Now, perhaps because of comments like that, he is now leading in the polls in Iowa. This is an average of the polls in Iowa by Real Clear Politics. As you can see, he has surged ahead to 23.5%. Now, this is not just one poll. This is an average of the polls in Iowa. And in New Hampshire, he's now in third place, but he has been moving up substantially. He's within striking distance now of Elizabeth Warren. Jim?
Stacey, I think Keith and I could probably agree on this. I mean, those four have been the front runners without debate or dispute since this started, and especially in the last 3 months. But that is something that we have not seen yet. We have seen a spike in one of those four. Mayor Pete is the one that's spiking. And that statement he made last night, I think, is a paradigm of why we're seeing the spike, the outsider. In this rap on him not having experience, he said, well, look at what experience has gotten you thus far. Very good point.
I hope my family and friends are going to give me credit, because for the last month, I keep on telling people to look at who's placed fourth right now, because I fundamentally don't believe the vice president finishes. I believe Elizabeth Warren and Senator Sanders, their support is deep, but not wide enough to get the nomination. So I kept on saying, let's see who's number four. Well, his contenders also saw who was number four, and he was attacked, or at least put on his heels by at least three other people on that stage last night.
Stacey, those four, and I agree with you, Keith, those four have had what we call soft support. People like them, but. The polling was like them, but. But what we're seeing right now with Mayor Pete is that's not like him, but. It's like him, period.
But still, we get a national average poll by Real Clear Politics, and it's Joseph Biden who still has the lead. Let's see this poll. This is, as they say, a national average, gentlemen.
Well, national, again, we talk about it all the time, Keith. Nationals are nationals, but you go state by state, in the trenches where these need to be won caucus by caucus, primary by primary. And I would take, if I were Mayor Pete and have a choice, would you want to be up 30% nationally, or do you want to be up in these state polls? I would choose the latter.
Elizabeth Warren and Sanders are closing in on 30 million. The mayor has 20 million. And at this point, the vice president has only been able to monetize his candidacy at around just under 16 million. If he can't monetize it, it tells me Again, his support might be wide, but it's paper thin.
We don't have time for it right now, but we will talk about the person who's now in 6th place on the national poll, Michael Bloomberg. It's amazing. He's in that polling already at that point. Unfortunately, not enough time today. Gentlemen, thanks so much.
Pleasure.
Great
Thank
to be
you.
here.